It's the OCGFAM Show. Viewer Questions with Scott. Part 1.
Hey there! Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM. Boom, boom, boom!
Got my scapegoat gear on. Scapegoat. This
Okay.
juice sucks.
This one's not great either. I'll switch with give you one.
Oh no, it's just...
I should be in that one so we'd be more even heights. You know? Because I'm, more diminutive in stature. Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM Show to you. My YouTube buddies, what's going on? We have a special guest. What's his Scott's name?
Yoshi.
Yoshi! Yoshi is here with us.
Yoshi.
Welcome to the OCGFAM Show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments. Speaking of the, hey! What's up? He's got like resting bee face kind of a little bit. You know what I mean? Kind of like, he looks like he's serious all the time.
Well, he's a griffin.
Oh!
Doesn't he look like a griffin?
A little bit,
Sit
yeah.
on top of a castle and
Yeah,
judge
just like
you. You judge her?
You suck. You're okay.
No, he's a snow badger. Come here, snow badger.
Speaking of the comments, we're going to answer some questions from the comments with Scott Ostrander, founder of Nectar for the Gods. And all around cool dude. Skater punk.
Skater punk?
No.
Oh yeah.
But it was like, it was these skates, what do you call it? Rollerblades. You were a rollerblading machine.
Hockey punk.
Yeah. Good times. Once took off your own skate and pizza on it.
Oh yeah. I still carry a skate with me.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case. DK, says Bob. This used to be a place of, would this be used in place of or along with cultured biologic teas? He's talking about the Bigfoot Mycorrhizae. So now let's talk about that somewhat in depth because it's an interesting thing. So Bigfoot Mycorrhizae is a microbial product, right?
Well, it's a mycorrhiza product. It's a fungal product, yeah.
So, but I think maybe some people think of it, you got your Microbe Life Photo Plus, you got your SLF100, you got all these microbials, you got the culture teas, which are in a bag, you pour them on the stuff, but different situation, different scenario. So, because there's the granular.
Yeah.
The granular, I guess I'm talking, is about, it makes a little fungal, it makes a symbiotic relationship with the roots.
And they're soluble.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how they carry the product in a package.
Mm-hmm. So, but that's a somewhat different situation from culture teas, microbe life, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, cultured's doing more of a broad spectrum bacteria and fungus. So
Yeah.
you've got it all in one. If you were looking just for the mycorrhiza piece, which when I'm inoculating for mycorrhiza, I make sure I use just mycorrhiza.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
I'm trying to make that connection. I'm trying to make that happen, and that symbiosis between that mycorrhiza and that plant, that's its own relationship that's outside of all the different forms of bacteria and stuff that they're putting in the cultured products. When you use the cultured products, I kind of look at that as you're re-inoculating the mycorrhiza, but you're increasing the spores of your bacteria in the soil, so you're getting more efficient nutrient cycling. At transplant, I use strictly just mycorrhiza because I'm just trying to get the root and the stress of that plant and the transplant stress to not be as great by adding that root fungus.
To get a head start.
It just, it kind of ensures that you're going to get a faster, more efficient root system while that plant is struggling to just take root. So it aids in that rooting piece.
So this is using the granular, pouring it in the hole, putting the plant in the hole kind of situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the soluble, when you use that, how do you feel about using that throughout the process as opposed to the other, I mean...
I mean, I come from the old school of growing, the down to earth days with Jack Bates and the family, and what we've always learned and knew was, at transplant, anytime I disturb the plant and the root system, I re-inoculate the mycorrhiza. Once it's established, I don't re-inoculate because it's an established fungal field that's not being destroyed. So if I'm going from a 4 to a 6, a 6 to a gallon to a 7 to 50, I'm just sprinkling that mycorrhiza in the hole every single time I upplant. And it's just reassuring me that I've got a good fungal connection. I'm going to have a nice root system from it. But I don't re-inoculate like third week in the bloom and I'm in the same pod and I haven't rototilled or anything. I don't necessarily go back in and re-inoculate mycorrhiza, but that's where the cultured product's kind of neat, because if you're using their bloom and they got a little mycorrhiza in there,
okay,
you're putting in a little bacteria, but you're still getting the mycorrhiza spores that kind of get in there, find the spots that aren't connected with the original mycorrhiza, and they'll hook up and join in the party.
So you certainly wouldn't knock someone for using the soluble, but in your way of thinking, the granular is about getting that connection with the roots and the...
You're making the connection because you're sprinkling it on, where if you do the soluble, you hope the spores are viable, you hope they get through your pump system, you hope they get through the line, and you hope they find the root system. I don't see that they don't work. I've also found just top dressing with their granular and watering over it, the spores melt right off the carrier, and it's a microscopic spore. It's still going to get into the root zone and still connect. So I just have never been a fan of the soluble mycorrhiza products. They work, but they're great for guys who have 100-acre fields that need to fertigate. They can put that soluble powders in their tanks, inject it, and they're getting viable spore out across the field. But I'm top dressing a 10 by 10 room. I don't need to go to the fertigation side.
So, but to the question though, absolutely, these are kind of two separate issues with the cultured and the Bigfoot to some extent.
They're very separate, but they cross over. And cultured crosses over to the Bigfoot realm. Bigfoot does not cross over to the cultured realm because they're not adding in the beneficial bacteria.
So, and just not you or me talking, but the general consensus is that mycorrhiza does a somewhat different job within the plant ecosystem than our other microbials. It's a different
everybody
thing.
Has a job underneath. So
yeah,
it's symbiotically working with beneficial bacteria and beneficial nitrogen fixers, phosphorus fixers. They're all working in conjunction with each other, and as they live and die, they become each other's food sources as well. So, no, I mean, diversity is key when you're putting microbials in, but fungal bodies and bacterial bodies are not the same bodies at all. So inoculations are different, time frames for germination are different, longevity of life are different, cycling's different. Mycorrhiza is living off of the plant, so as long as that plant's living and you're not disturbing it, that mycorrhiza is going to live. They don't live and die, they become one with the plant.
Take in.
It's probably a lot of bullshit.
Muffs and stuff. Must be a muffin maker. Muffs and stuff.
Or likes ladies.
Everybody likes ladies. I think. Hey Bob, this question does not pertain to the video. I don't even see which video it was, so no need to tell me there. I'm taking them all blind. I recently got the Nectar Sample Kit and was curious when I should start feeding. I recently mixed a blend of fairly amended soil, which I'm assuming is comparable to the hotness of Fox Farm Ocean Forest. Should I start a mild feed or wait until it shows deficient?
So many questions on that.
Well, wait until it shows deficient. No, heck no. Because I mean, you're dealing with a little. Yeah.
And if you're starting with a pretty well-built soil with a lot of nutrition, you can start very mild. What I would recommend is starting like a quarter strength, a couple weeks in, and just sliding them up, scaling them up over time. But if take a parts per million. If you're 1,200 parts per million, then you got enough food in there for quite some time with a built-up soil. Then you might want to just hold off for a few weeks.
Would you, if you were doing Spartan or Greek regimen, would you start with a quarter strength of everything, or maybe just throw some Gaia in there, or what would you?
I'd probably start with just Gaia, just little guys. Just kind of
work your way.
If you can acclimate the plants, they'll take in the food. But I don't know if you really want to start feeding them heavy in veg when they're already eating that heavy.
Yeah.
Because then when they get in the bloom, they're going to demand that much food, and that could get expensive.
Okay. So you definitely would not wait, but you would take her easy for quite some time. And
I would gently walk it in there and slowly add in, start with Gaia, then Gaia Medusa Zeus, then Gaia Medusa Zeus Urk, Gaia Medusa Zerk.
Now, if he put a seed in the ground as opposed to he started with a clone, different situation to some extent, or no?
Well, I'd be curious if you built it up hot and you try to germinate a seed, it may not germinate. So a lot of times you just go with a clone.
Yeah. So if you're
you're still a clone seedling.
But even if it was a seed, it would have been you would have grown in a little cup or something, and then you would have put it in here. That's what he's talking about, not the soil that he put. I understand. That makes sense. That's obvious. Okay, we're rolling along. We got about 1,000 questions. So we got to keep moving. 80s music is life. Let me ask you this: what do you think about Foreigner, the band, not the people?
I like
it's
Foreigner.
okay. Yeah.
Well, when you're in Vegas, it's pretty much what they play in every karaoke bar, right?
It's good stuff. Any money? Any money, fan?
Yeah, I'm a product of the 80s. You kidding? I'm like, yeah, 80s hip hop, 80s rap, 80s rock. I'm all about it.
So now 80s hip hop. I don't even know because I mean I saw.
That's when it really came out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The era of Run DMC.
But you were
cool
you were an urban sophisticate. I was out here in the sticks, and we didn't have that kind of thing. I saw Breakin' and Breakin' 2 Electric.
That's all you had to do if you're a white kid, and that's what they had. Then you learned how to break dance with a ghetto blaster and some cardboard in your basement.
I saw him posted up with my arms crossed. I wasn't into it.
Yeah, no, we had more inner city around us, so
Yeah,
we knew some guys who could teach us.
Get you a box, boy.
Yeah. Pay us $10 an hour. We'll teach you how to dance just like us. Yeah,
this is off the topic too. This is off the topic.
What's it?
Off topic question, but is there anything in number 2 Coco Coir?
Well, off topic to the video, but it's a good question.
Would really appreciate the answer. So the number 2. So what I
there's no nutrient charge in there.
Uh-huh.
We add, it's 50% cocoa fiber that's washed and 50% perlite. So that's the build, and then we do add a very light amount of yucca powder from yucca meal.
To what end?
Oh, it's maybe a couple pounds per 4 yards, and it's just so that it doesn't go hydrophobic.
Oh.
And it's nothing more than it's a non-microbial food. It just prevents hydrophobia, and then we add in the basalt paramagnetic rock.
Okay.
And then mycorrhiza.
Oh, so yeah.
But no food. I mean, there's no nutritional value. It's literally fungal for your root zone, yucca to make sure you don't go hydrophobic, and paramagnetic so you still have the hippie dust in there.
So, but no. So no, but there is one that's just cocoa, right? I mean, like the
number
numbers
7 is just cocoa in a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our flocked washed cocoa.
What do you do with that one?
Well, people use it to blend into their sunshine mix or their peat bales or their compost or their humus or something. They use it as an amendment to, or a lot of people just for seed starting, cocoa's great. So people use just cocoa for that, or for a gentle seed mix, for reseeding a lawn. All my chicken, I do a lot of chicken, so I got all the chicken farmers and all the baby chicks, they fill up their bins instead of like pine dust now. Using cocoa fiber, it's gentler on the animal. So cocoa, people just buy it. It's a nice product.
It's a good thing. Okay.
Yeah,
so if you want just cocoa, it's number 7, but the
number 2
is a little worked
feeding because it has the drainage.
Okay, so it's like a soil to some extent, but we're kind of rehashing. But it's for when you want it to run through and keep
it's
rolling.
soil-less in every aspect where it doesn't break down, it doesn't have a food nutrition source, it's not giving the plant anything. It's a medium so you can just hammer them with food all the time. You need to be under control of all the nutrition the plant needs. So the synthetic guys love it because they can feed it 3, 4, 5 times a day. They can put it in tables, they can put it in small pots, they can really just focus on the plant nutrition and not worry about anything in the root zone.
So is this kind of like a nectar way of doing something like someone might do Rockwell synthetic or clay balls or something like that?
It's the closest thing we can get to it.
I got you. Okay. All right. Tyler Garland. Hey Bob, I'm an avid watcher. Well, thank you. Of your videos. And I have a question about the Pegasus Potion. See, I do too. Because people tell me all about the Pegasus Potion all the time, but I don't get a real grasp of it, I don't think. It says as needed on all of the charts, but when I hit my 5th week of flower, all my girls start to show me a slight nitrogen deficiency. I'm under the impression that I'm supposed to cut nitrogen out at that point, but I'm afraid it's affecting my flower production. So I guess my question is, what is the best way to utilize Pegasus? Thanks. So this is actually 2 questions maybe.
Well, that's a great question because, a lot of people are under the belief that, well, that's just NPK growing.
So you're getting into the nitrogen first of this, yeah.
And so that's the thing, is everybody thinks nitrogen is all about growth and green and explosive, lateral positioning and it's
the gas.
But it's also, very important for all things plant matter to be grown with nitrogen. So even when you're in the flower production, so many people steer away from nitrogen, but in all reality, you still need it to form the little hair. I mean, everything that's forming in there is still needing that nitrogen to form. So even flower has all the tiny little sugar leaves. Those need the nitrogen to still be sugar leaves. So if you're seeing the deficiency, the nice thing about Pegasus Potion is it's a protein nitrogen. It's not a nitrate. So you're not getting just this like blood meal would be a high nitrogen or a nitrate. Guanos are nitrates, calcium nitrates. these are just pure nitrogen forms that make the plant super green, accelerate their growth, and give them a ton of energy. When you're using proteins, the plant assimilates that nitrogen in a different form. It's in a form of an amino acid, so you're getting these gentle forms that keep things green, keep the development going, but without the elongation of the plant, without the excess chlorophyll taste and flavor you get towards the end when you don't flush out the nitrogen enough. So if you did use it, what we found is you get definitely more of a fruity and a floral terpene profile when you're using Pegasus in that 3 to 6 weeks in the middle of bloom. A lot of the extractors really like when people use that mid bloom just for that flavor enhancement. So if you have it, try it, use it. It definitely in bloom, it's not going to create. I mean, it's a 0-1-0, so the nitrogen proteins are literally just assimilated nitrogen. I mean, the plant will just use it. It'll reflect that it's using it, but you won't get the elongation like most people tell you to turn off nitrogen for.
Okay. So if we're on board with the understanding the nitrogen thing and the differences in there, and what would you use Pegasus Potion for? Just like that?
Well, that's my as needed. I'm in week 4. I did my slurries. The parts per million are 250. The pH is on point, and I'm yellowing. They're hungry. Okay. So now I need to give them that excess food to make sure that they green back up. They don't go into the nitrogen deficiency, because when they start becoming nitrogen deficient, they also start uptaking a lot of other nutrition because it's all part of this energy uptake.
So not wrong with this.
No, that's on great point. Question. That's your as needed. You're in week 3 of week 4 of bloom, and they're starting to yellow prematurely, and they're exploding with growth. Give them that mild nitrogen to go.
Good answer. Good answer.
We're gonna have to blur that. They don't pay us to be on this show, and they make a lot of money.
They're killing it over there. It's a big long line.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Chocolate milk coffee.
It's because they actually use chocolate milk. It saves some time with putting the chocolate syrup in.
I know, and it tastes just like that.
That's what I like about it.
That fake ass coffee.
That's what I'm looking for. Is fake. Freddie B got 2 questions in here. Freddie B, wait. Before we this is because we did the one-shot thing, and I'm like, hey, I gotta get off the one-shot thing, and I gotta get onto something else because I felt like I was beating a dead horse.
Beating the shit out of that horse.
Yeah. But he said, wait, before we drop the one-shot autoflower, and I did, when I saw this, I did like, no, let's just save this for the viewer question so you can answer. One more question. What about Bloom Chaos? One of my photos from last year, BK kicked ass in the greenhouse using. I'm gonna read this, but read it good. Wait. Before we drop the one-shot autoflower talk, one more question. What about Bloom Chaos? On my photos from last year, BK kicked ass in the greenhouse. Using liquid line, it was easy to prep for BK and spraying during transition. Should we even try to spray our autos before they transition? Is it going to help or roast them? Is one shot going to be enough for the catalyst?
I would start, I have a lot of guys that do it. There's just no guarantee. Your environment, your grow, your genetics, your everything, it's just going to be unique to you. However, I think a lot of people just come right in at the full dilution right out of the gate, and that's half their problems.
Oh, they're not easing into it.
Well, if you and I would go and hit the gym right now and we decide to do, a bunch of reps of push-ups or anything.
Burpees. Bad for you.
Oh, shit. No, we'll be in pain tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think the same with this. This is a superfood, so let's just slowly give it to them and see how they react. But I think if you start at quarter strength with this, with one shot built in at the dilution rate that's on the bag, it should be able to handle it for the most part, especially in the veg cycle. What you might find, though, is that the plant will start eating more aggressively, and you may run out of the one shot sooner than you expected because you're not anticipating this extra growth.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you come straight out of the gate at full strength with an autoflower, you're probably going to torch the foliage, and you're going to stress that plant out because I don't think they're ready for it, as just their genetics aren't ready for it. But if you start at quarter strength, do a week to 10 days, go to half strength, just slowly acclimate them to it. Most plants are going to handle that just fine. I think most people's problem with chaos is they come in the American way of, they say a teaspoon, let's go 2.
Yes.
Yeah, more is not better.
Yeah.
on Zeus, on KS, on, I mean, there's a limit. There's a definite limit of lack of return.
Okay. Freddie B, question 2. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Hey Bob and fam, does one shot play well with others? Here in New England we have a company called Neptune's Harvest that makes ocean-based nutrients. I want to try their kelp meal product in my number 4 with one shot. Any insight on using one shot with other products? And so he's talking about, is this some sort of dry amendment kind of thing or something? Or
Neptune's Harvest?
yeah, it's just
I think they make both a dry and a liquid,
Oh,
but
okay.
it should be fine. I
Yeah.
mean, they're both. It just comes down to, if you're using the liquid, yeah, definitely in veg, you have no problem. And then moving on to Neptune's Bloom Food, you should be totally fine. I don't see there shouldn't be any issue. Their kelp products are, I would just check their pH, make sure, because I know a lot of kelp products will have hydroxide extraction, so you'll have really high pHs.
If you're doing a one-shot grow, pH shouldn't be. If we're just doing one shot, pH shouldn't be an issue.
Well,
Or we still got to look at it because we're trying. You know, I mean, are we still trying to?
yeah, I mean, if your water's jacked and you're watering at 4 or 5 all the time, you're still screwing yourself. Its
Okay.
pH is still a pH.
So there could be pH issues with other stuff that you're
Well,
putting in there as far as if you're doing other things.
Yeah, we get a lot, like there's a microbial product called Recharge, and a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, and the guys who hate it because it gives them a potassium overdose and the pH spikes. And it's because of how they process the kelp, which is
Yeah.
a very common way for a lot
Yeah.
of companies to process their kelp, but it comes out really hot, I mean really
Yeah.
like a 9.
Oh.
And so if you're mixing all this stuff up and then you hit them with this, then all of a sudden you get this potassium shot and then a high pH, then other issues start forming. The guys that love Recharge use it on its own day. They don't add it to a nutrient program. They're adding it as a microbial tea and they're using it in the waters where they're dropping their pH of their water to 6, adding the Recharge. It's coming out at 6, 8, 7, watering in the microbes because they're just adding the microbes in. My fear there is I'm not familiar with their kelp product or
you
if
don't
it's
have
liquid
it.
or dry. I would just check their pH, check how they derive it or what they derive it from, and if you have a really high pH product, then it's probably hydroxide. So it's something to kind of keep in mind that higher pH could start creating a higher pH soil.
So how would you check the pH of that stuff? Just mix it with some water, put a strip
Well,
in
yeah,
there.
start your water. If it's 6, you add it, it goes down, and it's acidic. If it goes up, it's alkaline. But and you're not going to know you can actually stick your meter right into take the ounce out, stick it in there. It's going to tell you what the actual hydrogen is, the actual pH is. But I would definitely check that before anything. Other than that, no. All the ingredients that would be in that product would play well. It's
Okay.
just what is the pH issue like?
So let me ask you something about that. My own question. So we talked about if you're having the chronic low pH and using the Calpro. Am I right on that? You have to bring it up.
Yeah.
Are there dry amendments you could use if you're too high?
There are, but usually just like blending it up with more peat moss or humus or something. Canadian peat right now is coming out at 4.3. So if you blend your high pH soils with a lower pH medium, that'll balance it out. A lot of people use like soybean, alfalfa, some of these more plant-based meals, they become acidic quicker. But really, as far as a dry amendment, God, we just avoid it.
Yeah.
Avoid the low pH stuff.
So, but you know, that if we're talking about a chronic pH problem, you'll know going in. Because we're fighting it all this run. The next run, you'd mix more peat in with your soil.
Yeah, if you're a recycler, definitely would want to be balancing that out. And then, figure out how you got to that high pH. I mean, our soil will go from a 5.8, 5.9 at manufacturing date with the limestone just added. We'll climb all the way to 7.5 in 20 days, and then after it stops composting, we'll drop back down to 6.8, 6.9. 3 waterings, and that'll be at 6.5 because we'll water out the excess. And so you just kind of you just have to figure out the balance.
If you were having chronic pH problems one way or the other, would it behoove you to recycle soil so that you're kind of working with the same stuff over and over again to make your changes to have
Wow, if it's a chronic pH issue, then it's probably the source you got it from originally.
Probably is the
so
soil.
sometimes just freaking
Better
start
start
over because soil companies aren't perfect, and I've seen a lot. I own a store. I've seen it where you take 10 pallets off a truck and you have literally 6 to 8 different pH values from bag to bag, pallet to pallet.
Wow.
And it's like, gosh, that's why you just don't trust the potting soil industries. That the Q&As, the consistencies, they're just, when you're doing giant batches of soil, you can't guarantee the first bag and the last bag and the middle bag out of 10,000 bags is going to be the same bag. That's why we really focus on 4 cubic yard batches and the exact same recipe for every 4 cubic yards. I mean, we prep a whole week worth of 4-yard mixes, and then we do 1 4-yard at a time, and QA 3 times. So everyone has to be, give or take 2 to 3%, and then we allow it.
Okay. What a nightmare. Ooh. Not my thing.
Yeah, it's stupid to do things right. It's not profitable to do things with a conscience. It's so much more effective and profitable if you just don't have a conscience.
Just go for it.
Yep. Just turn and burn it, stick it in the bag, and watch for forgiveness when your shit comes out at 4-1. But that's what we've been seeing a lot right now. And a lot of growers have been sending me emails saying, man, here's where I'm at. I'm in week 5 of bloom. I'm at 4.9. And you're like,
oh.
And honestly, it's really hard to bring. It's easier to get the pH down than it is to bring it up, especially with bottled nutrients.
Yeah, because it's naturally gonna.
It's gonna just keep buffering. Yeah. And so I've shipped out a lot of Calpril and Mycorrhizae, powdered forms of limestone that kind of react. They make it faster, and they get that pH up, so then we can just maintain it. But boy, if you're starting at a 5. Shut up, all you guys. I know you're bored. Knock it off. You stop it. Stop.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Mark Maccabee. I have a question about re-amending number 4 soil with 1-shot. I've heard nectar number 4 only gets better with age. Would 1-shot and said soil be ready for use for a new crop after a few weeks cook?
Yep. Yeah.
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 What? So, because it's good to go. Well, what is the 1-shot doing? I mean, it's adding more nutrients back in there because...
It's just, it's replenishing what was eaten on the last round. And if you take that and, take all your pile, add your 1-shot, give it a nice mist of something like SLF or cultured or some kind of microbial, that'll kind of activate it faster.
Oh, okay.
So you can probably even get in the next 2 weeks. Expect a little spike in heat because you're adding moisture and life back to the thing and a food source, so you're going to get some composting. But a lot of guys, 2 weeks is plenty, 3 weeks is better. If you can go for a whole 4, like an entire 30 days, great.
Is this soil like sitting in a pile? Is it sealed in a thing? Is it just covered up?
A lot of guys will do like the Rubbermaid totes. Just open the lid every day just to let it breathe, and then that really gets the microbial activity going.
Okay.
But see, 1-shot, I'm trying to let it last for 4 months. So
you don't want to cook it.
I don't want to make it activate too fast because then it becomes too available too quick, and then it runs out too fast.
Would you put maybe just a little bit in there and let it cook a little bit on its own, and then save the rest for later, and then mix it in before you go? Or
for what he's doing, he's doing 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's perfect. If you let it sit in there for 3 months, then you're kind of robbing yourself of some nutrition.
Plutonic Productions. Interesting video. I'm planning on doing 1-shot amended bottle grow, and I want it in a tip pot. Veg upright and tip pot 90 degrees and train at flower. I understand Kraken can create rigid cells and doesn't respond well to training. Is the foliage feeds or root drench included? So he's saying he's gonna tip it so that okay. How come you do that? It's just a way of doing it.
A lot of times it comes to space. Like I don't have an 8-foot ceiling, so I grew them 4 feet, and you try to flower them with the lid. So a lot of people tip them and have them grow up. So it gives them another couple feet. But
so if you did that, is the cracking going to be a problem? And if so, is it only a problem if you root drench, or only a problem if you foliar? Or what?
Foliar feeding, we get more of the rigidity. So once you tip it and they start to curve, and you like the shape, then you can foliar feed it for a couple weeks, and it'll kind of help it keep that shape more than. But I mean, naturally, they're going to want to bend to the light regardless. Yeah. I would not be foliar feeding until you get the bend going and they actually are in the position you want. As a root drench, we don't see nearly the hardening off, but it becomes stiff for sure. It's
there certainly is some.
It's more, it's still finicky to train, but it's not critically snapping branches just by touching them.
Okay.
But I've had to do that a few times with like plants that I just never put to flowering and they end up being huge.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, oh, well, actually, my old bait plant was so big.
Uh-huh.
And it was such a good bait plant that I just left it in the corner in a 55 on its
Uh-huh.
side, and I put up a plexiglass on half of it, so I'd have to water it from the sidewall. And it was all tortured and vine-like, and it was just webbed and nasty, but there was no other bugs in my room other than on that nasty one.
Nice.
But it had a trunk on it, like,
Uh-huh.
it was a huge trunk. It was crazy.
Bush.
It was one of my first ones.
Hold on. I'm looking. So, Bill Osborne, right? Yeah, okay. Bill Osborne. Nice show, Bob. Enjoying the one-shot in my plants. With one-shot in my soil, would I just be able to use your bloom package for Nectar for the Gods and have one-shot be the other nutrients? He's talking about the bloom kit. You remember what was in that?
No.
Well, it was...
These are Bob's kits, so
yeah.
I'm learning.
Well, it was... OCGFAM550.
I find it concerning that Bob's homepage is Kyliners.
Kylie's my hero. My Kylie. She's got it together. She knows what she's doing.
Well, her team does.
Okay. Hold on a second here. That's the bloom kit. See, there's a lot of stuff in there.
Get it while you can. We're going to pull
Yeah.
this thing off.
More Herc, obviously, and Aphrodite's Extraction, and some more Bloom Chaos, but the Persephone's Palette, the Triton's Trawl, the Megamorpheus, and the Olympus Up. So I guess what he's talking about really is just getting rid of the Zeus and the Medusa and the Gaia and the Demeters and the that other one I can never Athenas. Get rid of that
Say the
stuff.
question again.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, no. So I'll recap. He's saying he just wants to do the Bloom kit and one shot. Is that gonna work for him?
Oh, yeah.
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 Because
Yeah, and really, it should, like, the first couple weeks of bloom, you should only have to really do it once a week. And then if you want to push them, week 4, 5, and 6, you can do 2 a week or 3 a week if you really want to budget it that way. But
so let me ask you this: if you were going to do that, would you get the bloom kit at the start and start doing the hurt from day one, along with your one shot?
I would, but it's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just keeps that calcium flowing, keeps the root zone developing, and keeps them ready for flowering at any time. The thing with calcium is it's not really a soluble product in the soil. It's not an element that's just readily available in potting mixes. I mean, it can be there, you can test for it, you can see it in the labs, but it doesn't mean that the plant can access it. The nice thing about Herc or Demeters or Aphrodites or something with that pre-digested calcium is that you're always offering an available form of calcium.
So, if you were doing the one shot, you wouldn't be too worried at all about dumping the Gaia and the Medusa.
Dumping it into the root
Not
zone?
using it. Not using Gaia or Medusa at all.
No, but I'm not going to be aggressively. I mean, things are going to be happy. Things are going to grow.
Yeah.
They're going to naturally do what they're supposed to do, but you're not pushing them at all.
Yeah.
So,
But
it won't miss a beat. I
Okay.
mean, you won't miss a beat. You just will get less aggressive eating plants.
So I do all this, and I've got my plant that's a bit a smaller, maybe medium healthy plant, and it's okay. It's time to flower, and I start hitting with all these bottles of stuff.
Should be fun.
Should be fun.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it's so gentle. It's just. I mean, you're not going to come in with aggressive Roman level feeding.
Yeah.
At the
So you
week
would
one.
you would go off the chart maybe half as much, or
Start at with everything. I
Yeah.
mean, these are not our charts. These are your guys'
Yeah.
charts. So even with these charts, when they get something new and it's a half strength, full strength, triple strength, I mean, I want to see what the plant can handle because, we've discussed this 1,000 times. It's an average.
Sure. Yeah.
So
yeah.
33 or above and 33 or below and 33 are. And so, you got to keep. There's a bunch of guys that are pushing that recipe twice as hard as anybody else, and there's a whole bunch of guys out there that do half the amount.
So there's a 70% chance you're wrong.
No,
matter what you do.
absolutely. Well, and that's life, so.
Yeah.
Whoever told you were going to win, they lied to you. Get your lawyer. Get them ready. Sue your family. They lied. You don't get to succeed. There is no 4th place trophy.
Should we be using SLF 100 on a daily basis with our This is Richard Flores. Should we be using SLF 100 on a daily basis with our regular nutrient feeds? Yeah, no, maybe, sure.
Should we call Newton?
Call Newton. Newton actually answers the phone. He's one of the few people that will hello, Bob.
let's
And I'll
see what
say,
he
Newton,
says.
it's Bob.
We won't tell Newton he's on. We'll get a complete, candid.
Off-label answer from him.
Look, he blew me a kiss today.
He's a sweetie.
Look, I even said you're.
That's so nice. He's got a little emoji guy.
Yeah. What I would say, and I don't own SLF and have no stake in the game, if you're on a budget, I would use it on tea days. If you are really wanting to dial it in and make sure that you have the life and everything's always on point, then I add in 3 mils per gallon every time I feed.
And that's not a ton.
No,
I mean, a 32-ounce bottle is going to go a long way.
I'm at a tablespoon per 5 gallon bucket.
Yeah.
And so.
And it's not nothing to buy that stuff. It's
pricey.
Yeah.
Well, it's not pricey in the realm of. It's
cheap compared to some of these things that have less utility and bigger promises.
Exactly. Let's see what he says. Let's see that question.
Yeah.
Hey, got a question for you.
Sure.
I got an email from Richard Flores that asked me, should we be using SLF on a daily basis with our regular nutrient feeds?
I would say no. But
You
what,
can.
I mean, huh?
You can, though.
You can, absolutely. That's the kind of the conversation that I would have with him is,
You can water with SLF.
You can drink this shit, I've been told. No, that was my answer, is if you are on a budget, do it on your tea day. If you're not on a budget and want it to be really awesome, then put 3 mils a gallon every time you feed and 5 mils a gallon every time you tea.
yeah. Yeah, well, that conversation with him would be, what's his infiltration rate? I mean, how does and then if he wants more benefit from it, breaking down more nutrients and getting more calcium to his plants, then, I mean, by all means, use more, but it's all really based on the customer's preference.
Absolutely.
It's kind of hard to just...
Well, the good news is microbes in SLF don't die after they go into the soil. They actually live and colonize and create more, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Off-label.
But yeah. Off-label. I mean, we are on TV right now, so.
What?
So there,
What's happening?
I put you on our OCG fam show.
Oh, sweet.
So there's your answer. It's official.
Can I watch myself right now?
You can watch this episode on Friday.
Friday at 4.
Friday at 4. It'll be released.
No, I'm looking to get the echo going on.
Oh yeah. Well, we can call you back and do a live stream, which we don't do because then we get caught with bad answers.
Not good to do the live stream.
Yeah, we edit the crap out of these
Unexpurgated.
shows. Oh yeah, no question. So sweet.
Leonard answer?
Huh?
That was good enough?
That's a great answer. It's what I would have said and more. So that's awesome. We appreciate it.
Running on me. Cool.
That was fun and easy.
Good. We'll get you on another scary one when we go live with the Department of Ag.
Okay.
All right, cool. Talk to you soon.
Dogs involved.
Yeah, no sweat. I'll call him up from his grave.
I had those guys on the show.
Yeah.
All right, later.
Great. All right. There you go. There's your answer. I say just, yeah, why not? So let's talk about that for a moment. So while we use SLF like some sort of thing for whatever we're talking about, also that it helps with nutrient uptake.
Well,
theory.
that's the whole point of SLF is that you're adding this constant life force in there that loves to eat calcium and phosphorus, and it's moving through our root zone, protecting it, but they're also breeding and colonizing at the same time. So, like he said, if you have a buildup or you want more efficiency or you need more digestion, you add more. If you think everything's on par, everything's on point, you don't want to mess up the pooch, run it at mild. But it's one of those where you're never going to overdo it. You're just going to lose money doing it.
Would you say that it's kind of like a little bit like a preventative flush every day if you put it in there to some extent?
It is. It depends on how you feed. I mean, I got guys who feed Herc so hard that it's certainly not a preventative anything. It's just, let me see if I can keep up with the digestion
this going
level. But it's just it's a harmless beneficial.
Joey Shepard. Hey guys, love your products and your show. I've been watching the videos like crazy, looking for advice on cocoa. This will be my first grow in cocoa. I purchased Mother Earth 7030 cocoa perlite. The ppm is right at 50. I also have a living soil that I normally use. Should I amend the soil with cocoa to bring the ppm up, or use cocoa only and build ppm with nutrients? Any help appreciated. Thanks. This could go either way, kind of thing, right? Is that?
Yeah, I mean.
So there's.
I mean, I don't. So you want. I don't.
Well, I think what he's saying here is he's going to try this cocoa perlite thing because he wants to try cocoa.
Okay.
But he's concerned that he's going to pooch himself because he's new to the game.
Well, there's no nutrients in it at all. So you have a living soil that you built that has nutrition and a living organism. I mean, it's an ecosystem. And then there's raw soilless medium. So with the raw soilless medium, adding ppms from your other one is only going to add a very low percentage of life and nutrition to it that's going to immediately strip out, where you really just have to go to bottle feeding.
So you're not hedging your bets doing this. You're just muddying the waters a little bit. Because I think what he's concerned about is his first time in the game with the cocoa, and he doesn't.
Well, that's awesome. If I bought a cocoa and I had 300 parts per million, then that means they didn't wash it at all, and it's filled with salt.
Because that
would suck.
ppms, if you see ppms in cocoa, it is salt, right?
Well, it's collected seaside. So. Yeah, so adding ppms, I mean, if you did add in like an organic matter and some organic meals, then there you have it. But the point of cocoa mixes is to be able to control the feeding like scientists. I mean, you're literally giving them what you think that plant needs.
So if I did a cocoa grow, and I'm worried that I'm going to not get them fed as much as I need to, and I put some one shot in there, is it most likely I'm just going to wash that one shot out of it as I go, or is it going to stay in there?
No, because cocoa holds it.
So I could.
And the bacteria and the fungus on cocoa or on one shot will start eating that and making it into a soil.
So would you do that your first time out to just be safe? Because you're worried.
Depends on what you want. I mean, if you're bottle feeding GH, then no, I don't want anything in there other than cocoa perlite and my general hydroponics. But if I'm trying to build another living soil with cocoa and perlite, you need to add humus, you need to add organic matter, maybe peat moss, maybe
So there's a cocoa situation that's almost like a hydroponic thing of where you're feeding it in the
That's
stuff.
it. That's designed for hydroponics. And then people will use it as a top feed soil grow just so they can feed twice a day. And then at 70-30, the other concept there is like, that won't drain very fast. So you're feeding on a Monday, you probably won't be able to feed again until Wednesday or Thursday, and there's no nutrient backup. So I would add more perlite to that and feed them more regularly, so you get the drainage, the airflow, and then it dries up quicker so you can feed more often. And that's what a lot of people like the cocoa for, is that I can feed it a whole lot and control the volume I put in. But with a 70-30, we've played with different ratios. In 70-30, the cocoa holds so much moisture, and if your root development isn't huge, it sits there wet for a long time. But adding your living soil, I mean, I'm sure the living soil is great, but I would need to know more, like, what is your goal with the cocoa other than just trying it? If you're just trying it, be ready to buy a lot of bottles to control it, because you have no nutrient backup.
If you were going to add to the 70-30, would you add perlite or would you add pumice?
Well, it depends on where you're located. I mean, if you're in Iowa, you don't have pumice.
Oh, it doesn't exist.
No, here it's.
We have
a volcano that blew up, so it's cheap as hell and it's nice, but it's heavy and it doesn't ship well.
They have perlite is because there's not volcanoes everywhere.
Yeah. So I would get like a chunky perlite, because probably with theirs they're using the small, beaver or whatever, the regular horticultural grade. You can get the larger grade that kind of adds different diversity and drainage molecules, or like that diatomaceous earth perlite stuff that's freaking phenomenal that would hold. It's a neat product, but blah blah blah. I digress.
Okay, that's about 45 minutes. Let's call that part 1 and pick her back up on Monday. I love you. I'll see you then. The OCG Fam Show, it's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show.